Productivity, production, being productive. These are things that we constantly think about, we constantly talk about. We're constantly brainstorming on how can I be more productive? How can I up-level my productivity? It's okay. It's common. We live in this capitalist society here in the United States of America and, of course, other places around the world where production is ruler. I mean, let's just face it. But is this the most vital way to live our lives? Is this what is healthiest and best for us? If the ones who have gone before us and passed on before us are to teach us anything, it's that through the regrets of the dying, we learn that two of those top regrets of people that are facing the end of their lives is that, one, they wish they had been more true to themselves and lived a life that they wanted to live and not the life that other people expected them to live or what they thought other people expected from them. And the other, of course, was I worked way too much. I worked far too long and far too hard, oftentimes working for somebody else's company, or if I even working for my own company, I spent too much time doing that and not enough time with my friends and family. I lost touch with friends that I once adored. My family, I missed so many important parts of my children growing up because I was working. I was working late. I was traveling for work. I was being productive. And then we get to a place in life where we can no longer be productive and the kids are grown and the skin is wrinkled. In time, even an entire lifetime has slipped by. And all we have is these memories and our lack of memories of perhaps what could have been had we lived a life that was more conscious and intentional. And that is the reason I'm doing this series going into this new year and this new era that we're about to embark in as artificial intelligence develops and begins to change the world. Now, what is the paradigm that we're talking about here? We have an old system, an old way of doing things, and this is not just in societies of capitalism, but this is everywhere. This is the way the world works in terms of job, career, output, individual output, group output. It's just been the way for so long. We can't even remember when this began. I am, of course, speaking of hustle and grind culture. I mean, just look at the name of it, hustle and grind. Does that sound appealing to anyone? Hustling and grinding? I mean, yeah, if you're in sports or at the club, maybe. But I don't know. That never really sounded appealing to me. That's just me. I don't know. And I'm not here to hate on anyone that's a part of hustle culture, that I'm not here hating on grinding, and I'm certainly not hating on working hard. I believe absolutely in working hard, but I also believe in doing what we love to do with a sense of intention. And even if it's something that we don't love to do and something that we feel like we have to do for a paycheck, we can still bring a certain level of intentionality to what we're doing. So we're used to this series of hustle and grind culture. We all know it. Hustle, 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 go, 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 do, 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 be, 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 fix, 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 close, 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 ABC, always be closing, da, da, da. It's never ending. Wake up at 4 a.m., do your 2-hour morning routine, drink the protein shake, hit the pavement, start work at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., and just grind, grind, grind all day long until the sun goes down and you really just can't work anymore. And then go home, have a usually unhealthy but trying to be healthy dinner, spend a little bit of time with the kids, and then maybe flip open the computer and do a little more work before you fall down completely exhausted in bed. Of course, that is not the life for everyone, but you get the picture. How long have we been doing this? How long can this keep going, where our sense of being productive is go, 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 do, 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 nonstop? It can't. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for our relationships, which a lot of people would consider to be the most important aspects of life, and it's not sustainable for our health. Why? Think about what go, 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 go is doing to your central nervous system. Think about what it's doing to your heart. Think about what it's doing to your diet. Did you guys know that stress kills more people than almost anything out there? I mean, we're afraid of so many things that are out in the world, diseases and accidents and things that can happen to us, yet we are wholly and fully committed to a life that is the number one killer of the most people, and that is stress. That is often brought on by overproduction, overhustle, lack of conscious production, and the lifestyle that leads to bad habits, poor diets, etc. It can't go on. It's unsustainable. And if we continue going like this, there are individual consequences, and there, of course, will be collective consequences. And none of us want that to happen. So, how do we change it? Great question. You might be sitting there thinking, that's great, that's nice, sure. But how do I change this in a world that is still addicted to hustle culture? I have a job that I have to do, a boss that expects me to show up and do it well, and to do it quickly, because I've got kids to feed, I've got a mortgage to pay for, etc., etc. I've got to quit this job so I can go to my second job just so I can afford to barely live okay in a job and housing market that's long forgot about the middle and lower class. I'm trying to get on the soapbox here, but just saying, life is hard out there for a lot of people. And these things like wellness are not usually catered to the middle and lower classes. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be the case, but it often is. How do we change that? How do we make wellness, consciousness, and real grounded living vitality for everyone like it should be? Well, we have to really take a look at the old paradigm of the hustle and grind culture, what that is, and how we can begin to dismantle it. So what are we talking about when we're talking about production and vitality being productive? Hustle culture, grind, grind, grind. Well, there are no shortage, thanks to social media, there's no shortage of bros and even boss babes out there to tell us, hey, this is what you got to do, right? You got to X, Y, and Z. There's nothing wrong with that. Let me say that outright. If that's the way that you want to live your life, if that's the way you want to conduct your business, I'm not hating on that. There's nothing wrong with it. By all means, knock it out. It's very successful in terms of, this worldly type of business growth and financial reward, etc. It is a proven track record, and that's why so many people utilize it. We've got, take Elon Musk, for example. He's currently the richest man on planet Earth. He's started how many businesses? He's got SpaceX, Tesla. He was a part of PayPal. He's part of the PayPal mafia, right? But I think anyone that was paying attention to Elon Musk in 2024, 25, and the whole Doge and political, I'm suddenly best friends with Donald Trump era, how many of us really want to be like Elon? That's no hate to him. The man's contributions to humanity are unparalleled, and I'm grateful. I am. But I don't want to be like him, right? I'm not knocking him, but he's one of the people that says, I don't sleep. I work, work, work. And when I'm tired, I go and work more. Yet, he is an absentee father as far as, what we can tell. He has kids with multiple women and apparently doesn't see any of them, hardly. He may or may not have a ketamine addiction on top of it. He straight up tells people, and I said this in interviews, you don't want to be me. It's not fun being me. And I think he's right. But I also think Elon was one of those people that came in, programmed this way, and he's on a mission, and he's living that out. However that's working for him consciously and spiritually, that's his bag. I'm thankful for him. I'm not hating on him. I know it sounds like I'm judging him. I'm really not. I'm just saying that kind of life is not sustainable for everyone. So what do we do? What do we do when we live in that kind of world? First thing is we have to start asking ourselves questions, which is, what does productivity mean to me? What do I mean when I say I want to be more productive? I do this a lot with my clients whenever they come in with different things, and trying to be more productive is something that I work with clients a lot on. And so when they come in, I ask them simple questions. All right, tell me about productivity in your life. immediately they start telling me, well, this is what I do, ABC, 1, 2, 3, and this is how I conduct it, and I want to be like this, I want to be like that, and I want to do this, and it's about their actions, action, right? Action leads to production, right? Well, yeah, but you're missing the first ingredient. Productivity, that's action. Action, that's a verb. Verbs don't come at the beginning of a sentence, right? Verbs come later. What comes at the beginning? What comes before a verb? A noun. There has to be a subject, right? If there's an action, there has to be a subject that commits the action, or else there is no action. And that's what we're missing. We're focused on the action. We're not focused on the subject, which is you. That's where we get off on the wrong foot, and that's where things begin to go awry, is that you commit to actions that are not coming from who you are as an individual. And then you wonder why you're tired all the time, or you're broke, or you just can't seem to get ahead, or everything just feels weird and chaotic, and you don't feel right in your own skin. You feel like you're trying to live somebody else's life or trying to live up to somebody else's standards, and then you wake up one day and you're 70 and you have a stroke or a heart attack, and you're the one lying on a bed telling somebody else, you know what, my regret most is that I didn't live true to myself, right? We gotta listen to these people that have gone before us. They're trying to give us pearls of wisdom and say, I didn't live a life that was in lockstep accordance with who I truly am, and I regret it. I decided a long time ago that I made a mistake. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and many in productivity. I don't want to make that mistake anymore. I don't want to live that way anymore. I want to live consciously. I want to live intentionally. I want to slow down. I used to work in a field that was hustle, grind. And you know what? I was pretty good at it. And I got to the top quickly, and I was actually pretty successful, give or take, depending on your point of view. But I was also miserable. I was an anxious wreck, suffering from depression, anxiety, drinking too much because I was so unhappy in my life and my work and what I was doing. And then I walked away because what I was doing was not coming from my own being. And if I'm being honest, at that time, I wasn't even sure who I was. And of course, that's the doorway to awakening. So we have to start asking this question before we look at the production and the actions that we take. We have to start with this question first. Who am I in terms of what I am doing with my time in my work? And that's going to determine how I go about my work and what I do. That's going to determine what I choose to do as a career. Because the time is coming, well, it's already here with the internet and phones and equipment and the way that AI is coming in. A lot of things are getting ready to drastically change in that job market. And so this is a great time to start asking, who am I in terms of what I want to contribute to the world and how I want to live my life? What do I want to do with my life? How much time do I want to spend on these different things? Relationships. How do I want to fuel myself, what I eat, what I drink? How do I live in a way that is sustainable, but brings who I am individually at the top? Because it's not going to be the same for everyone. Not everyone can go out there and be Elon Musk. We can't. We can't all be living and acting and producing in the same way to the same degree because we're not all the same. Yes, universally we have all of these similarities, but when it comes down to our inner being, our heart, our soul, our personality, we're not all the same. We have different strengths and weaknesses. We're extroverted, we're introverted, we're this on this scale, we're this Enneagram, we're this Myers-Briggs, whatever. We're different, right? We have to understand what works best for who we are. And then choose how we're going to show up in the world and be productive out of ourselves and not what we think will impress the most people and get the most things that have designer names on it or drive the... This is all just ego. When we begin to act in our production from a place of ego, which is not who we really are, that's what leads us to destruction, not production. So, what do we do about it, right? Well, what do you do when you want to get to know someone else? What do you do when you want to learn intimate things about another person, whether it's somebody you're trying to date, a family member, a new friend? You spend time with them and you communicate. That's exactly what we do with ourselves. We spend time getting to know ourselves, our real selves, our true selves, not the ego, our heart and soul, and we communicate. We talk to ourselves. No, it's not crazy. Most of the time. We do this all day, every day. It's just most people, I don't, keep it internal, right? We have different parts of ourselves that talk at different times of the day. I'll talk more about that later. But for now, yes, thinking, speaking, even if it's internal, then get it out. You can speak out loud. You can record it with your phone, or the time-old great art of journaling, of course. Start asking yourself the important questions regarding who you are and productivity. 1, if I could do anything in the world, right? If I could do anything in the world, not of ego, not of trying to impress other people, other people, and money, dollar amount, put all of that aside for now. I'm not saying it doesn't matter at all. I'm just saying put that aside. We're talking about you. What would you do if you could do anything? Now, the asterisk to this, of course, is within reason, right? It would be nice to go out, if I were to go out and, I want to be a rock star. Okay, cool. I don't play musical instruments. I don't sing. I can't dance. But that's my dress. Being realistic, what do I want to do in my heart? Because really, when it comes down to it, what are you trying to get out of being a rock, or whatever that far out dream is? Is that really what you want to do, or is it something that's titillating to the ego? Just asking. What do you want to do? That comes out of who you are. That can almost certainly be achieved now. With technology, with the internet, with AI. There's so many things that are at our fingertips now. I was making films in my 20s, something that I never thought that I would get to do, because when I was a kid, it was very select. Film was very expensive. I didn't think I would ever even get the chance to do it. But by the time I was in my 20s, we have technology that is easily affordable. And you can set your mind to it and do it. What can you do with your heart that you want to do? Then talk about, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Very simple. What am I actually really good at? What am I not so great at? And what is maybe average or mid that I can improve upon? And ask yourself, what can I do in accordance with my lifestyle? Whatever that is. Maybe you don't make a lot of money. Maybe you come from a lower class situation. Maybe it's a middle class situation. Maybe you have a mortgage and a spouse and kids. Maybe you're completely single, but you don't have great self-esteem. We're all living these vastly different lives. So we have to ask, what can I do that's in accordance with, of course, my lifestyle that I actually can do? Okay? We have to start looking at production in terms of what really matters to you, right? So start brainstorming and writing about your hopes, about your dreams, the ones that you had when you were a child or a teenager, the ones that maybe you put aside or forgot about because, it's just not practical, or, society doesn't really support whatever that is, or, I'm not good enough, of course, I can go and do that. If it has any type of practicality to it, it's achievable, right? Start writing about what those hopes and dreams are. Start journaling about, how can I contribute this to the world in terms of service to other human beings in a way that I would find very rewarding and meaningful. Rewarding and meaningful. Meaningful. Purpose. That's what keeps us going. It's not the dollar amount. It may start out being that, but as we know from our friends on the deathbeds, that's not what it ends up being. Meaning and purpose. What gives meaning to your life in accordance with who you are? That's what we're going to be looking into. And to do so, we're going to be utilizing one of my favorite little tools to access our reason of being, Ikigai, the Japanese tool for understanding what brings value to life. So, we're going to talk about that in the next video. I'll see you there. In the meantime, pick up the pencil, the paper, and start talking to yourself. I promise, it's only a little bit weird.